I've already expressed some of my problems with this whole process in the briefing on some places, and I don't want to make this into a 10-minute rant.
Oh, George!
But God help me, I'm tempted. Right, first of all, to go to page 502, if you look, I have a number of problems with this. First of all, I do not think that it's right that a piece of public art in which we're spending a considerable amount of public money, over 115 grand in the long run, I do not think that it's appropriate that it should be a closed process in which a certain number of artists that have already been deemed to be acceptable by the officers and so on within the process are the only people who are allowed to bid. Other councils, I have looked this up, other councils do open bids on public art. It makes it look like a very closed process. And it gives the public very little choice between 4 options. And when one considers that, looking at previous pieces of public art in Cambridge, the tastes and the views of what is art that are held by professional artists are not always very much in tune with what most of the public think it consists of art. And at the end of the day, the only real, apart from the technical criteria that's in budget and that it's, it's not ridiculous, and some of the technical criteria, the main overwhelming thing that we should weigh in this process is whether the public want it. Because at the end of the day, this is a democratic council, and they're the ones who have part of it. And if you look at Snowy Far, I've not heard a single member of the public. I've spoken about it with many people. I've overheard people walk past it making casual comments about what I saw it is and how it's like ubiquitous all sorts. So at the heart of this should be an open process. And I'm also baffled by, maybe this is standard practice, but if it's standard practice in the art world, I think it shows you how really out of touch they are. That regardless of whether they get the commission, they'll be paid £1,500. Nice work if you can get it. If you put a tender in for anything else in the world, if you're a building cleaning contract or any kind of building contract, or any contract in the normal world, if you don't get the commission, you don't get paid. You might have spent a lot of money in putting together a proposal and saying this is the way we can do it the best and the cheapest and so on. It's tough. If you're not good enough, you don't get paid for doing it. That is the way the world works for most of us. So the fact that people are being paid regardless of results. Another issue here is the use of consultants. We'll be in a, as it 1.2.7, officers work on arts expertise and consultant arts organisations, which will cost 12 grand, according to on page 500. I don't really see the qualification. We know that art is subjective, right? But if this is the process that's been used on previous public art, the use of arts experts or arts consultants, there's no saying why that they're going to be in tune with what most of the public want. I do acknowledge that there are mentions of public consultation. There's one or two very sparse mentions of public consultation in this, but which are mostly there to point out that the exhibition is for information and gather but visitors to the exhibition will not be invited to vote. In the actual criteria given, upon which they will be judged, it's not mentioned what weight the view of the public will be given. And there are all kinds of things about understanding of the brief, ability to deliver its requirements, artistic practice and quality. So what we've got is a number of officers and a consultant making an assessment of what they think constitutes artistic practice and quality. This is artistic practice and quality. This is on 526. But frankly, I don't care what a consultant or some officers who think that they know what the public wants in terms of art think. The only important thing is what the public think. And I think what it comes down to is that actually public taste in many of these things is quite conservative. If you ask most people, my view is they want a statue of an old-fashioned football figure with standing on a ball. That is, I think, the reality, or something like that. It's not a traditional statue. But what they will end up with, when the main weight of this is put on the views of an arts expert consultant, will be some avant-garde monstrosity that no one wants, like we've seen before, like with Snowy Far being the most obvious example. And I was considering trying to bring some amendments to this process to make it more open, to make it more realistic, to make it less costly, because we think just because we have this a huge amount of money lying around for public art through Section 106, we have to spend it all, and therefore we must pump it into white elephant projects. And actually, it's a tax on development in reality. Maybe a worthwhile tax to some degree for some public art projects, but that doesn't mean we have to pour 100 grand into an arts project just because the money's there, essentially. So I did consider trying to bring some amendments back to this process and try to amend this whole process. But there's so many things wrong with it that it's not possible to amend it. The whole thing needs to be taken back, in my view, and completely rewritten with the public view, a detailed process of public consultation, a clear weight that will be put on the public's view. In my view, the view of the public consultation should be binding on this project, and it should not, in the end of the day, be left to unelected officers, a consultant and the executive councillor, which is effectively what it will be left to on the basis of this process. The whole process needs to be rewritten to be more open and a lot more democratic. So I'll be voting against this, and it should be sent back to the drawing board. That's my 2 minutes.
You don't like the idea there, John?
Go 8, I think. I was going to say, I thought we weren't going to have the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.